Solve 43,796 plus 489 and 67 hundredths. In this problem, you have to remember that you have 43,796 and your decimal point goes at the end here, plus 489.67. We need to put our zeros here, and then we can go ahead and solve. Solve 65,008 minus 547 2/10. Once again, we have to line up our decimals. What is tricky about this problem is once you line up your decimals, oopsie. You notice that you have to subtract across all of those zeros. And when we subtract across all those zeros, sometimes that's where we make our biggest mistakes. So that's where you have to be careful. What is 28% of 45? Here of, we know, means to multiply. So we have 28% of 45. Before we can multiply, we need to turn our percent into a decimal. So that will be 0.28 times 45. And that will give us our answer. What percent is 38 of 80? So here we're looking for our percent. We have 38 out of 80. When we divide, we are going to get a decimal. After we get our decimal, we then need to multiply by 100, and that'll give us our percent. Bananas cost 47 cents per pound, so that's 1 pound. Amanda purchased X pounds. She spent a total of $1.41. Which equation expresses the amount Amanda spent on bananas? So we know that it's 47 cents for 1 pound. She purchased X pounds. And she spent a total that equaled $1.41. So you need to choose which equation represents that situation. Draw a number line to represent the inequality. X is greater than 4. That means X is bigger. X is bigger. Alright, and it's a greater than, so you need to decide on the circle. Find the area. Answer without units. We know that area equals our length times our width. Well, we have our length. Our length, times our height. Our base times our height, really is what I want to say. So we have our base times our height. Here we have our base, and here we have our height. We can go ahead and we can plug in those values, and we're answering without units. The box and whisker plot below shows the test scores for the last quiz. what is the interquartile range? So we need to know how to find our quartiles. We need to know that this represents quartile 1, this represents quartile 2, and this represents quartile 3. Then we also need to know that quartile 3 minus quartile 1 will give us our interquartile range. Fill in the blank. -4 is blank than 0. Is -4 greater than 0? Is -4 less than 0? Or is -4 equal to 0? You choose the correct option. Plot -4 and 0 on the number line. Is this -4 and 0? Is this -4 and 0? Is this -4 and 0? Or is this -4 and 0? You decide which option is correct. On a coordinate plane, a circle is centered at 5, 5, and a triangle is centered at -3, 5. What is the distance between the centers of the circle and the triangle? We have 5, 5, and we have -3, 5. So we first need to ask ourselves, what is in common? Well, we can see that their y values are in common. So that is what we are going to cross off. And we have a positive and a negative. So we have a positive and a negative. So when you have a positive and a negative value, you are going to add the values together. You're going to add the absolute values together. Actually, should make that add the absolute values together. To get the distance. So you ask yourselves, we have the absolute value of 5 plus the absolute value of -3. What is the absolute value of 5? Actually, I'm going to let you do that on your own. What is the absolute value of 5? Well, what is the absolute value of 3? And you add them together, and that will give you the distance between the center of the circle and the center of the triangle. This is today's lesson, so you should be able to do this problem on your own.